Welcome back to Speak English Like a Pro. I'm so incredibly glad you're here today because we're about to dive deep into a feeling that, if we're being completely honest with ourselves, touches almost every single one of us on this incredible language learning journey. It's that familiar knot in your stomach, isn't it? That sudden dryness in your mouth, the quiet whisper in your mind, the racing heart, all of it happening even before you manage to open your mouth to utter a single English word. That's the fear, the hesitation, that powerful, invisible force that stops the words dead in their tracks, even when you know them perfectly well in your head. You've studied so hard. You've practiced countless hours, learned thousands of words, mastered so many grammar rules. Yet, when the actual moment arrives, when you need to engage in a real conversation, to express yourself freely and genuinely, that fear just creeps in. It could be the fear of making a mistake, or of being misunderstood, or maybe of being judged, or perhaps just that lingering worry of sounding not good enough. And let me tell you, if you feel any of this, you are absolutely, unequivocally not alone. This right here is one of the biggest, most universal hurdles for English learners all around the world, even for those who are incredibly advanced in their studies. But here's the really good news, my friends. Fear, at its core, is just a feeling. It's an emotion, not a concrete, unchangeable fact. And just like any other feeling, it can be deeply understood, gently managed, and eventually beautifully overcome. Today, we're not just going to skim the surface. We're going to dive right into some truly practical approaches, not just abstract ideas, but tangible steps designed to help you speak English without that debilitating hesitation, to truly unlock your authentic voice, and to speak English like the pro you are absolutely becoming. This isn't about some overnight magic. It's about subtly shifting your mindset. Yes, but also, crucially, about building tiny, powerful habits that chip away at that fear, bit by bit, every single day. So, if you're truly ready to finally let go of that hesitation and embrace the sheer joy of confident English communication, why don't you grab a comfortable seat, maybe a cup of your favorite tea, and let's just begin this conversation together. The very first thing we need to acknowledge, and this is truly important, is that the fear of speaking English isn't just about the English language itself. Quite often, what we experience is a manifestation of deeper, more universal human fears. It's the fear of being judged, the fear of failing, the fear of looking a little foolish. These are deeply ingrained human anxieties, and they naturally get amplified. They become more pronounced when we step outside our usual comfort zone, especially when we're trying to communicate in a language that isn't our mother tongue. The real key here, the fundamental understanding, is to realize that absolutely everyone, and I mean everyone, even native speakers, makes mistakes. We all stumble over our words. We all mispronounce things sometimes. We all forget words in the middle of a sentence. The significant difference, though, is that truly confident speakers don't let those moments stop them dead in their tracks. They simply see them as an inherent part of the learning process, not as some kind of undeniable proof of their inadequacy. So, let's consciously try to reframe this for ourselves. Every single mistake we make is actually a valuable learning opportunity, never a personal failing. Let's learn to really embrace that beautiful imperfection. It's such an integral, wonderful part of the journey of acquiring any language. With that understanding in mind, our first genuine step toward overcoming this fear involves a profound mindset shift. It's about truly, authentically embracing imperfection. This means consciously giving yourself the full permission to make mistakes. Just think about it for a moment. When a tiny child learns their very first language, they make hundreds, probably thousands, of what we would call mistakes along their way. Do their parents chastise them for it? Of course not. They celebrate every new word, every single brave attempt. That, my friends, is exactly the kind of accepting, encouraging attitude we need to adopt for ourselves. Practically speaking, this translates into deliberately lowering your personal standards for what you consider perfect. Your ultimate goal isn't to be absolutely flawless. It's simply to be understood and to communicate your message effectively. It means consistently focusing on your progress, no matter how small, rather than fixating on some elusive idea of perfection. Acknowledge and celebrate every single time you bravely try to speak, every time you manage to string a sentence together, even if it's not perfect. That, in itself, is a huge win. You might even try repeating a positive affirmation to yourself each morning. Something wonderfully simple like, "It's completely okay to make mistakes. I am learning and I am growing every single day." Or perhaps, "My voice matters and I truly have something valuable to say." Saying these words to yourself helps to gently rewire your brain's automatic response to the act of speaking. Just remember, every single fluent native speaker you admire was once a learner too, and they made countless mistakes on their personal journey to fluency. It's simply part of the universal human experience of learning. Moving on, let's talk about creating your own personal prepare and practice safe zones. The fear of the unknown, that feeling of not knowing what to expect, is incredibly powerful, isn't it? We can significantly reduce that fear by simply getting comfortable with speaking in environments where there's absolutely no external pressure whatsoever. It's truly transformative. Then, there's the incredibly effective technique of recording yourself. Now, I know this can feel a little awkward initially, hearing your own voice played back, but it is truly invaluable feedback. Just pick any simple topic, set a timer for just 1 minute, and simply talk. Don't stop, even if you stumble over your words. The goal is to keep that flow going for a full 60 seconds. Afterwards, listen back. Not to harshly criticize yourself, but to simply observe. Did you hesitate frequently? Did you find yourself searching for words? Were there any grammatical errors that you noticed? This helps you pinpoint areas for improvement without the intense pressure of a live audience. Perhaps try recording your answer to a common interview question, or simply describing what you did last weekend. And don't forget the power of role-playing scenarios. Mentally, or even out loud, role-play common situations you might encounter. Imagine yourself ordering food in a restaurant, checking into a hotel, or asking for directions. You can even play both parts of the conversation. "Hi, can I get a coffee?" "Sure. What kind would you like?" "A latte, please." This builds genuine muscle memory for specific phrases and interactions, so when you actually encounter them in real life, you'll feel much more prepared and significantly less anxious. These safe zones are absolutely crucial because they allow you to experiment freely, to make all the mistakes you need to, and to build confidence in a completely controlled environment, making that eventual leap to real-world conversations feel much less daunting. Our next key approach is all about taking those initial, small, brave steps into actual interaction, what I affectionately call the small talk, big impact approach. The mistake many learners make is waiting for a grand, perfect moment, like a complex debate or a formal presentation. But you don't need to do that. Start with tiny, micro-interactions. For instance, when you encounter someone, it could be the security guard in your building, the cashier at the grocery store, or even a colleague in the office. Just try a simple English greeting. "Good morning," or "How are you?" or "Have a good day." These are incredibly low-stakes, predictable interactions. They gently build your comfort with initiating and responding in English without demanding much more. Or, if you're in a shop and you need help, instead of immediately defaulting to your native language or even just gestures, bravely try a simple question. "Excuse me, where can I find the milk?" Or, "Do you have this in a larger size?" The true goal here isn't absolute perfection, but simply engagement. And if you happen to have a friend, a family member, or even a language exchange partner whom you truly trust, consider creating a designated judgment-free zone specifically for practicing with them. Agree beforehand that mistakes are not only allowed but genuinely welcomed. Start with easy, flowing conversations. This approach slowly but surely builds your confidence in a slightly more public, yet still very supportive, setting. The cumulative effect of these small, consistent interactions is truly enormous. Each successful, tiny conversation chips away at that underlying fear and gently builds a positive association with the act of speaking English. Now, for refining your delivery and helping you sound much more natural, which in turn profoundly boosts your confidence, we turn to the mimic and mirror technique, which is also widely known as shadowing. The first step here is to find your perfect voice model. Choose a native English speaker whose voice you genuinely like and whose speaking pace feels comfortable for you. This could be a favorite podcaster, a YouTuber you enjoy, an actor in a show, or even an audiobook narrator. Once you have your model, then it's about listening and echoing. Play a short segment, perhaps just a sentence or two. Then, immediately pause the audio and try to exactly mimic what you just heard. This means not just repeating the words, but really focusing on replicating the intonation, the rhythm, the natural stress patterns, and even the connected speech. If your voice model says gonna for going to, then you should try to say gonna. The aim here is to focus on the flow, not just the individual words. This powerful technique literally trains your mouth muscles and your ears to work together in a harmonious way, helping you to internalize the beautiful musicality of English. It's less about understanding the literal meaning of every single word at this specific stage, and much more about capturing the sound and the flow. This process will make your speech sound significantly more natural, and when you sound more natural, you genuinely feel much more confident. Consistency is the absolute key here. Even just 10 to 15 minutes a day dedicated to shadowing can bring about a truly remarkable difference in how effortlessly words begin to flow from your mouth. And finally, perhaps the most crucial strategy of all, is embracing what I call the failure as feedback loop. This is all about how you choose to react when you do make a mistake, or when that old, familiar hesitation tries to creep back in. When you stumble over a word, mispronounce something, or completely forget what you wanted to say, your first instinctive reaction might be to feel embarrassed or incredibly frustrated. Instead, consciously, immediately reframe it. Tell yourself, okay, that didn't come out perfectly. What can I actually learn from this moment? If you can, take a brief moment to analyze what happened. Was it a particular sound that tripped you up? A specific grammar point you struggled with? A vocabulary word that escaped you? Make a mental note to look it up later if you need to. Then, and this is important, try again immediately if possible. If you're in a live conversation and you mispronounce a word, just gently correct yourself and simply keep going. Don't stop the flow of the conversation. If you're practicing alone, try that difficult sentence again a few times until it feels right. The very act of consciously correcting yourself powerfully reinforces the correct pattern in your brain and actively builds your resilience. And always celebrate the attempt. Every single attempt you make to speak English, regardless of its outcome, is a victory in itself. You tried. You put yourself out there. And that, my friends, takes immense courage. Make sure you acknowledge that courage within yourself. This strategy completely transforms what you perceive as mistakes from confidence killers into powerful, genuine learning opportunities. It teaches your brain that it's inherently safe to try, because even when things don't go perfectly, you are still actively learning and powerfully growing. This, truly, is the ultimate tool for overcoming hesitation because it fundamentally removes the painful sting of imperfection. Remember, my friends, overcoming fear and speaking English without hesitation is a beautiful journey, not a static destination. There will undoubtedly be days when you feel incredibly confident, and there will also be days when that old, familiar hesitation tries to sneak back in. That is perfectly, wonderfully normal. The absolute key is to simply keep showing up, to keep practicing these strategies, and to keep reminding yourself of your incredible, ongoing progress. Every single word you utter, every brave attempt you make, is actively building that precious muscle of confidence within you. You have so much to say, so many thoughts to share, and your unique voice absolutely deserves to be heard. Don't let fear silence it. Embrace your journey with an open heart, celebrate every single one of your efforts, and trust that with these dedicated habits, you are truly, powerfully, and undeniably on your way to speaking English like the pro you absolutely are. If this video truly resonated with you, if you felt a connection, and you're ready to put these strategies into action, please give it a big thumbs up, share it generously with anyone who's on their own English learning journey, and of course, definitely hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, so you don't miss any more valuable tips and inspiration from Speak English Like a Pro.